Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, first story up. Nicki Minaj and Dez Bryant this time. The good sis Nick is mad again, y'all. This time it's Dez Bryant that's been caught in Nicki Minaj's crosshairs. Let me tell you how this one happened. So apparently Dez Bryant was on Twitter and he was in a rant talking about Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas, is that his name? The owner of Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. You know, he's a very polarizing figure for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay. But you talk to some people and they love him, and you talk to, it seems like most people I know seems to either really dislike him or hate him. Okay. I don't know. What's the problem with Jerry Jones, you guys? Is he a no good guy? Anyway, so he was going on and on about Jerry Jones, how him and Roc Nation walked away from a deal when they were negotiating because it was bullshit and bloppy blue. Okay, he's represented by Roc Nation, and that inserts Nicki Minaj. Because Nicki Minaj, I think, has told herself that she gonna put her foot on anybody's neck that has any kind of connection to Roc Nation at this point. She mad about her fucking $9 million. She mad about Meg. She mad about some shit with Jay. You know, she's got her issues. She makes sure that she don't never mention B. Okay, she's fine with Beyonce. She's got issues with Jay, or maybe she has never said anything about Beyonce. So we gonna keep the lines definite. Okay, it's the issue she has is with Jay. But anyway, in his ranting, he had warned Jerry Jones not to get too cute out there, or else he was going to release some information that I'm assuming Jerry Jones or the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't want out there. So Nicki then attached her own self to this, because once she realized that Roc Nation was involved and Dez Bryant was out there, okay, Nicki got involved. And so then Nicki started to kind of like start giving story times about her situation with Roc Nation, and kind of talking about Dez, and I don't know how she ended up, I don't understand. Actually, I do. She started talking about Dez and saying some things about Dez, because apparently back in the day, Dez had said some things about her. So it looks like this is one of those situations where Nicki just was like, just waiting for the opportunity, just waiting for Dez to say something so that she can start back up. So he gave her that reason, and so she started with the issues that she had. Dez tried to back out of the beef. Like, he could see that it was about to go somewhere at first, so it looked like he was trying to like kind of dead it. But then Nicki Minaj said something along the lines like, go beat up your mother, or something like that, or go handle it, you know, go beat it up, go beat your mother up, or something along those lines. Because apparently back in 2014, it was 2012, she's referencing the time when he actually had a run-in with his mom, and he, you know, roughed her up a little bit. I don't really know what the issue was, but they had, you know, they had some issues. Apparently Dez had a really troubled childhood, parents, you know, problems. His dad was abusive to the mom, raped her. I think he saw it, like all that. So, you know, Dez has been around a lot of domestic violence, you know, domestic abuse and stuff growing up. Okay. So when she said that to him, and he was arrested with a misdemeanor with that. So this was like a real thing that happened. So when she mentioned that, I guess that like made him pissed. That would have pissed me off too. Especially if him and his mom are in a better place now, and you know, that was a bad time. Ain't nobody trying to remember that. But so then he started going back and forth. So then that's when they was just going back and forth on social media. Just back and forth. And finally Nicki Minaj said that she would pay $10 million, was it? $10 million. That's what she said. She would pay him $10 million for him and his for him and her husband to fight because she's a woman. Apparently, Dez is not going to be fighting Nicki. Okay, not in public anyway. Shit. Okay, I mean, you fighting your mama. I don't see why you would have a problem fighting Nicki too. So yeah, so she said that she would pay $10 million and he can come fight her husband. And so Dez was like, you know what? I'm gonna take you up on that. Okay, I'll fight him $10 million. She ain't answered it yet. I was like, oh, are we really gonna have a fight with? First of all, did Nicki Minaj's husband, do he want to fight Dez Bryant? It's like, golly, child, did you put your poor husband in the middle of something? So now I guess, you know, we're going to see if Dez and Mr. Petty get into the ring and fight. I mean, neither one of them are fighters. So, I mean, this is more like a brawl. You just going to be paying. I mean, it's not going to happen, y'all. They're not going to do it. But wouldn't that be something? Child, I don't know. I don't know who Dez. I know the name, but I don't know what he looks like. I don't know how big he is and everything. I know Nicki Minaj's husband is not real. He's not a. You know, he looks like he's maybe about 5'9", 5'10"-ish. He's not real big either. We'll see. Y'all think that they really gonna do it? I mean, I don't think so. Yeah. I just want to go give Nicki a hug, y'all. It's just too much. I feel like Nicki is really unhappy. You know, and she got her baby and her husband and everything. I want everybody to be happy and shit. It's bothering me that Nicki has problems with Jay like this, you know. But again, they say Jay is really hard. Like they say that he is a businessman first and very shrewd and, you know, have made a lot of enemies. So, I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess. But Nick is mad, child. Nick is mad. I mean, why you had to tell the man to go beat his mama up? Nicki, was that nice? That was not nice, Nick. All right, let's pray for old Nicki, okay? And we're going to move on to the next story. Puffy's ex-girlfriend, well, ex, if you, depending on who you ask, because I think that Puffy and Gina are still together. Of course they are, you know, amongst all the other women that he has. But apparently Gina was victim number 3 in the in the case, okay? She was supposed to testify in the case, but she dropped out at the last minute, okay? So she didn't come up. But she wanted to be anonymous then, but now it's ironic that she now is letting everybody know who she is, even though we already knew who all these players were, okay? But anyway, getting back to it. So Gina ends up penning a letter to the judge. You guys know right now they're trying to get Puffy out of jail. Okay. And I'm going to just spoiler alert. Judge said, hell fuck no, bitch. That's a spoiler alert. But let me finish the story. Gina wrote a letter to the judge saying how, you know, her and Puffy aren't together anymore, but that doesn't mean that she's going to kick him while he's down and she loves him. And that he's a good person, and he admitted to the bad things that he did, and he needs a second chance, and he's, you know, he wants to be with his kids, and, you know, all this. And she wrote this whole long, glowing letter for Puffy, and they posted it in the Shade Root comments, and then somebody was like, girl, you could have just said the rent was due. Because they said that Puffy is still paying her rent, or Bad Boy Records is still paying for everything, okay? And Gina was just like, we need him out just to make sure that, you know, we good. But I already told you guys that Judge Subramanian said no. He said that Puffy failed to satisfy his burden to demonstrate his entitlement to release, which means that Puffy will be there until the October 2nd or 3rd date where they are going to sentence him. I was just like, the judge really did mess us over. Like, we really thought the judge was contemplating letting Puffy out. Okay? The judge even told prosecutors, listen, you need to put your paperwork in, okay, because they trying to get him out over here. Hurry up and get your shit in so I can have something to decide. And the prosecution hurried up and put their shit in, all for the judge to be like, no. I guess the judge was just like, I need to make this as fair and as visibly fair as I need to make it. Okay? So he made sure that prosecution and defense had their stuff in, and so that he can weigh both sides, and then he said no. Puffy and his team after the judge finally said no, today I just saw that Puffy finally and them, they reached out to YSAP to try to get a pardon. I guess they were just trying to wait and see. This is such a bad look. You know, YSAP said he would consider it and he would think about it. I don't think that he's going to do that, but we're going to see if he does. I think they're trying to weigh this racially because he let the Christies out. Now we've got this black person. Is he going to do the same thing there? You know, and then does YSAP, how does YSAP want to look in this whole situation? Does he want the black people to cheer him on for letting a black man out of jail early? Or do we upset the black people by letting another predator back out in those streets? Or do we, you know, so they're probably trying to just weigh what looks best on them. This is not, has nothing to do with whether this is going to help Puffy. YSAP is only going to use this situation or whether or not it's going to help him. We also know that YSAP loves to piss people off, and him letting Puffy out will piss a lot of people off. So there's that too. So we'll see. I actually won't be shocked if he does pardon him. But see, the things that the Christies were in trouble for, you know, like they affected people's lives. People lost their livelihoods and everything, and everybody was able to just get over that. So I guess, you know, Puffy and his little taking the sex across state lines, you know, maybe people don't think that's a big deal or something, and then maybe they're not going to be mad that Puffy got out, but I'm just like, oh. But I'm not shocked that they're going to ask. Of course they would ask. Puffy wants to get out of jail, okay? And if he gets a pardon, then we ain't even got to deal with the sentencing situation. Let's just pardon him and be done. So they were waiting. They were waiting to see. But, I mean, they went on and just put that out there and was like, can you pardon him? I'm going to be curious to see what YSAP does. Remember now, he's in entertainment. He's friends with these people. If he's not friends directly with Puffy, he's friends with people that are friends with Puffy. So he could be doing people solace. All these millionaires and billionaires and all that, they do all kind of stuff like this all the time. You know, they help the other person out. It just depends on whether they like them or not. Because if they don't like them, they ain't going to help them. But if they like them, then they are going to help them. And, you know, Puffy going to be fine. So, child, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But at least for now, October 2nd or 3rd, is one of those days. Okay? We will be sentenced that day. All right? All right. Moving on. Next story. Okay, so the people is real mad about BET Awards, Hip Hop Awards, and the Soul Train Awards being canceled. Or should I say, they've been suspended indefinitely. Kind of like Black Girls Rock, because I think that's what they said about Black Girls Rock too back then. It's fine, you guys. BET Awards is separate from BET Hip Hop Awards. And definitely separate from Soul Train Awards. Soul Train Awards came from Black Girls Rock. I feel like all that happened around the same time, and I feel like the Hip Hop Awards was watering down the regular BET Awards. It was just like, why would you have a BET Hip Hop Awards if you already have a BET Awards with those same categories over here? You know, so why do this twice? Nobody was going to the BET Hip Hop Awards. You guys, I told you guys on the reviews of the last BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards, I told you they were horrible. As a matter of fact, I missed the Soul Train Awards. I didn't even know the shit was on, I think, this last one. So, it's fine, but it's not the regular BET Awards. They can keep the BET Awards and let everything just be concentrated on there. Hell, nobody even watches BET, the channel, other than when they have an awards show. So they didn't need to have all them damn awards. So it's fine. But don't get it mixed up. They still have BET Awards, and that's always the one that is good. Okay? That one is usually always good. It's very big, but people shit on it because they get it mixed up with the Hip Hop Awards and all these other awards. But the main BET Awards, they still do a good job. Okay? I done told y'all that a million times, and people still hate the show. So, I mean, it is what it is, you guys. Let's move on to the next story now. Beyonce. You guys know, seen that ad of her in the beautiful denim outfit with the embellishments and everything, and she's got like her Marilyn Monroe blonde hair. It's like a big Betty Boop coif, you know, it's curled and does all that does, not does. It does all this. And I saw that picture and I thought it was beautiful. I was just like, oh, I love that. I love the, you know, I love that whole denim on denim look. I've always liked that look. So it was cute. Didn't think nothing else about it. Now we've got a Sid Sweeney. Is that her name? Sid Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney. I don't even know who the girl is. This cute white girl, blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. She did a commercial for American Eagle. And she's talking about having good jeans. Good jeans. Now, it's a denim commercial. It's a play on words. Good jeans. Good jeans. Genes, Jeans. Okay? Now, if you just watch the commercial, you're just like, okay, she's talking about being, you know, having good jeans. She's got on American Eagle. It's a play on the words and everything. But then when she starts talking more and more about what she does, who she is, you know, and when she's talking about being with these good jeans, now it turns into a Genes situation. And when we're talking about good Jenes and your blonde hair and blue eyes, now what exactly are we talking about? You know, are we now starting to talk about like how Hitler felt like blonde hair, blue eyes was like the perfect person, the good gene? You know, so it just depends on how you want to look at that ad. Even though I believe that American Eagle knew that everybody was going to make these leaps. Okay, that's what a lot of the companies do now. You know, you see Balenciaga making all these ridiculous bags. Nobody's carrying those fucking bags. But they do that so people talk about their company and talk about their business. That's why they do these things that push envelopes, that make people mad, talk about race and all that. These companies do that so that they get the attention. Because even controversy brings attention, which means it brings more sales. Okay? It's a jacked up way of doing things. Sorry, you guys, I need to plug in my phone. Because of course it's about to die. But it's a jacked up way of doing things, okay? Because it's like, why are you guys talking? So then now that commercial came out, there are some people, Pierce Morgan, but who was Megyn Kelly was the initial person that actually said that Beyonce was appropriating Marilyn Monroe. I was just like, okay, I didn't even really think about this thing too deep. So I'm sure there are think pieces on this and everything, but all I can say about it is Marilyn Monroe was not a culture, okay? Marilyn Monroe was a person, but her life became the culture, right? There are many people that want to look like Marilyn Monroe of all nationalities because that look, the blonde hair and everything, you know, we can't really say that she culturally appropriated a person. Okay, well, you can maybe say she copied off of the look, but I don't know if that is a culturally appropriation. I don't know if that's culturally appropriate, a culture appropriation. Okay, now this is a situation where I'm learning, so you guys can correct me. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't think that Beyonce is trying to be Marilyn Monroe. I think that was just the look that she'd like to have. But when you have people that are culturally appropriating, they are trying to actually take up the culture as they own and then keep it for themselves. It's like you stole what was ours. And then, like when you see people with these damn cornrows. Now black people been getting their damn cornrows hair braided for a million years. Then a few years ago, they tried to call them something else because Kim Kardashian was getting the fucking, you know, braids. It's like, bitch, them is cornrows. What's all this other shit y'all calling them? So, you know, I don't think that is that considered culturally appropriating a Marilyn Monroe. She's not a culture, even though she became one, you know, but it's just the look. So that doesn't feel like that's cultural appropriation to me. But you guys can correct me, or maybe you guys can better word what I'm trying to say. Because there are a few of you guys who I love when you guys write your answers because you guys you say exactly what I meant. But, I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's like, how do you say Marilyn Monroe was for everybody? I mean, she was a white woman, but she was for everybody. you know? So, yeah, I'm gonna leave that with y'all and let y'all figure that one out. But to me, I don't think that that's cultural appropriation of Marilyn Monroe. It is different when it's a look as opposed to completely consuming something and trying to change it and make it be yours, like those cornrow situations. Okay? But yeah. Okay, y'all. I know sometimes we gotta get a little further deep into it. Y'all know I'm not a deep person, so that's the best I can do with it. Y'all let me know what you think of that. You know, put it in your words and then leave that down there, and we're gonna move on to the next story. We're gonna send up a rest in peace to Lonnie Anderson. I feel like most of you guys won't even know who Lonnie Anderson is, because she was somebody who was a well-known actress back when I was little. Okay, she was on a show called WKRP in Cincinnati. Me and my brother loved that show. We watched it all the time. But she didn't do much after like that era. So in the 80s, like just think of the early 80s, early 80s, late 70s to early 80s. Lonnie Anderson was like the sex symbol. She was the pretty girl. So on WKRP, she played like the dingy kind of receptionist, sexy, dingy, cute, you know, that everybody liked. And she always played, she was typecast, so she always played like that same kind of character. She would be on like Love Boat and Fantasy Island. You know, she would do like guest spots on different shows and things like that. And then of course we remember when she married Burt Reynolds. Like that was a big deal because Burt Reynolds was really good looking, she was really pretty, you know, they got together, everybody loved the matchup. Of course it didn't last because Burt Reynolds they said he was a hoe and he was seeing everybody and doing everything. I mean, he was the man back in the early 80s, okay? Smokey and the Bandit, honey, you couldn't, my mom and dad loved that movie. They just loved all of the Smokey and the Bandit movies. But anyway, she wasn't in the Smokey and the Bandit movies, though. Those are Burt Reynolds and Sally Fields, not Sally Richardson. Because Sally Richardson is married to DeAndre Richardson, who used to be on Queen Sugar. Y'all like how I put all them degrees of separation there? But yeah, she's been pretty quiet. Like, we used to see her. I feel like I ain't seen Lonnie Anderson since the early 90s. I really thought that woman was dead. I thought that she would have been older. They said that she was only 81 years old. That's young. Like, I thought she would have been older than my parents, child. And no, she was not. She was not. 81 years old. She ended up divorcing Burt Reynolds and she got remarried. And then that one stuck. So the one to Burt was a fluke. And then she got remarried and she has been with that gentleman since then. Okay. So the family hasn't announced funeral plans. I believe they're going to probably have it private. Some of these stars, I just be wondering, like, what happened to them? Like, same thing with like Johnny Mathis. I wonder every day what happened to Johnny Mathis, child. We don't see Johnny Mathis. We don't hear nothing about him, nothing. I know he's still alive. And because I saw a video, I actually went and researched trying to find him one day at Christmas time. And I actually found a video of him and he was singing. So he's still out there, child. He's still out there doing things. But some people just disappear. You never think of them anymore until you hear that they passed. Lonnie Anderson is definitely one. I thought the woman, I did not know she was still alive. So she leaves behind, she's survived by her husband, Bob Flick, okay, and her children, Deidre and Quentin. She had a stepson named Adam, and then she leaves behind her also 4 grandchildren, okay? But a lot of family and friends, I'm sure, you know, fans are still around. I mean, I still love Lonnie. I just did not know she was still with us, y'all, so I hate to hear that she's passed. But 81 years old, rest in peace to Lonnie Anderson. Tiffany Haddish and Jason Lee would like you guys to believe that these two had a baby together, okay? Because back in 2023, he was interviewing her, and they were talking about, you know, they was just throwing it around, about them two having a baby, because she wants to have a baby, he wants to have a kid, but he wasn't with anybody and she wasn't with anybody at the time. So they were like, oh, maybe we could just do something together. But you know, they were just talking. Well, fast forward now to today, or you know, a couple of days ago, Tiffany ends up posting on Monday, I think, a picture of her and Jason holding the baby. The baby looked like he about 5-6 months, and she just said, well, I guess the cat's out the bag, and then she put a little heart. So of course everybody was looking like, what does this mean? You know, because we haven't really seen Tiffany. Tiffany was having a hard time, was getting in trouble, the DUIs, you know, something about what happened when she went over across to the Middle East. I mean, Tiffany's been going through it. But she's been pretty quiet. I would say maybe, I mean, she's been quiet long enough for her to have been pregnant and have had a baby. But I knew that she hadn't had no baby. And I knew she ain't had no baby with Jason. Okay. So, you know, they was riding it. She ended up posting the next day when people was all like, what does this mean? Everybody was in the comments like, what are you talking about? What is this? You know, did you guys have a baby? Some people were actually believing it. But the next day she was like, oh, I was at Disneyland all day. No. She said, I was at Six Flags all day. Like, what did I miss? Okay. Still not answering. But we were able to find out, I think from the comments, some people were talking in the comments, and the people were able to find out that the baby was actually Jason's cousin's grandchild or something like that. Okay. Bottom line, these two ain't had no baby together. Okay. So that did not happen. Okay. And lastly, you guys, since this is kind of a quickie little segment here, Rasheeda in this tour, child, that damn social experiment that they did on social media where people are calling folks and asking them to go to the Rasheeda concert, I'm telling you, that shit was so funny. I laughed all weekend because that went on all weekend. Like, if you was on TikTok, everything, it would always come up, and it was just cracking me up. Rasheeda did a freestyle kind of thing, right? And in the freestyle, she said, and I ain't never leaving Kirk, or some shit like that. Okay? Like, y'all can forget it. She ain't never leaving Kirk. And we all talked about that and laughed about it. And it's like, girl, you just as stupid as you want to be. But I mean, fine. Okay? I mean, like, we can't even keep calling a girl stupid. If that's what you want to do, fine, girl. Just go be with D-Lo then. Okay? So after she did that, then she announced that she was going to be doing a tour. And talking about the VIP sections and all of this at State Farm. And I was like, okay, Rasheeda. Is it just Rasheeda on tour? Or is Rasheeda and friends? And baby, them friends need to be Escape. And then switch around the damn order and you go first and let Escape go. Because who is going to be trying to go do a tour for Rasheeda? Yeah, but Rasheeda said she got it going. So, honey, they did that damn thing where they calling people, and I'm telling you, it is some funny fucking videos out there. Just the reactions of everybody is hilarious. But, you know, and then some people were like, oh, I feel bad for her. You know, usually I would feel bad for people too when stuff like this happens, but sometimes you got to just flip it. It's not, the teasing to me is not malicious. Like, I feel like Rasheeda even knows Rasheeda can't rap, you know? But she does it, and she calls herself a rapper, you know, so people respect her as a rapper, but we know that Rasheeda ain't nobody paying no tickets to go see Rasheeda. I mean, not the majority of people, you know? So, but she's smart to try to flip this and use it, even if people are just doing it just to be funny or buying tickets to come see her just to be funny or something like that. Listen, the key word here is buying the ticket. Buying a ticket means that Rasheeda is getting that money. And Rasheeda, girl, sometimes when you see an opportunity, baby, we got to grab it whichever way we want. And I think that's what Rasheeda's doing. Okay? Sometimes you got to be able to laugh at yourself. You know, I make it a point to be able to laugh at myself. I don't take myself that seriously. You know, certain things, of course, hurt my feelings. Absolutely. But, you know, I also know that if I was Rasheeda, I would have did the exact same thing. And first of all, I wouldn't have done none of it. But if it would have worked out the way that it did, after I got over the embarrassment of it, and I could see that there maybe would have been some money in this situation. Listen, I think it's smart that Rasheeda's using it. Girl, get your money. Get your money. Because it is some people that are fans of Rasheeda, you know? And I'm not going to lie, you guys, that put them on and make them want to marry me. I'm telling you, me and my friends, we have blasted that really loud in the Jeep. And had the top down and laughed and sang, you know? So the song is appropriate. It just depends on the situation. You know, sometimes it is a jam, you know, it just depends. But Yeah, you guys, that shit has been some funny ass shit, you know, and I don't feel too bad laughing about it because I don't feel like it's super malicious. Okay, it's just, again, I feel like Rasheeda knows she ain't no damn rapper. She's a pretty girl, who's, you know, has a few rap songs. How's that? All right, y'all. But who going to the concert? Because I know some of you guys going just for that reason, just to say you win. So who out there done got some tickets? It may be one or two of y'all. Y'all going and let us know. We want to know how the concert was. I don't know when it is, but they say it's supposed to be a State Farm, child. And I think they said she's doing a little tour, like big cities, you know, in little smaller venues maybe. Y'all going to go see Rasheeda? I ain't mad. I'm gonna go get this edited and we gonna get it up to you. I feel really good because I was able to see all of that and I hadn't even blown it up too bad. Some days my eyes are worse than others, it feels like. But all right, you guys, I'm gonna get on off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back.